Welcome to the Sydney Football Stadium for our 10 Sports presentation of the major preliminary semi-final between Canterbury Bulldogs and the Canberra Raiders. Hello, I'm Rex Mossop, your host for our State Bank Big Game. Well, our two contestants today finished their 22 rounds of the Premiership, with Canterbury coming in number 2 and Canberra number 3. Whoever loses today will get another chance when they meet yesterday's winner, Balmain, next Saturday. And today's winner will meet the minor premiers, Cronulla, next Sunday. The Bulldogs and the Raiders have met twice this season in the Winfield Cup, and on both occasions it was a Bulldog win. First round 22-17 and then 23-16. So have Canterbury got the measure of Canberra? We're about to find out as the teams are coming out onto the field for this major preliminary semi-final.
Well, the statistics would tell us that Canterbury certainly have the edge on Canberra, but they come into this semi-final off a loss. Their full line-up today: Alchin, Nissen, Farah, Curry, Thorne and Lamb, and Hagan is the halfback. The forwards: Langmack, Folkes, Dunn, Lee, Thomas and Tunks, and Phil Gould is the coach.
Here come the Canberra Raiders, the only team left out of the 87 grand finals, still with a chance to make it back-to-back appearances. It's Belcher, Martin, Clyde, Jackson, Ferguson, Walters, Stewart, the forwards of Lance, Coyne, Gilbert, Bacco, Steve Walters in the hooking role, and Lazarus.
And the man in the centre today, a rather surprising choice of Graeme Annesley. Greg McCallum, who was #1 referee just a week or so ago, handled the reserve grade here today. That the wide shot from the tower of the Sydney Cricket Ground, looking down on the Sydney Football Stadium. As the referee checks with both sides, and will now blow time on for this major preliminary semi-final. Belcher kicks off straight away down to Steve Folkes. And immediately a penalty to Canterbury, as Canterbury players, particularly Lazarus, not getting off him.
Yes, well, the referee on the State Bank replay has really signified what his intentions are right from the word go. That's the opening kick-off taken by Folkes, and within seconds there was a penalty. So hopefully you'll keep them lying off each other.
And Thomas restarts, and the way it goes to Brandon Lee. Folkes. Langmack, I should say. Now Tunks. Well, the pressure on the Canberra forwards, particularly Sam Bacco. As Farah looks for touch. Ferguson is there to intercept it. Caught by Lamb. And 2 footballs on the field. Get rid of one. Ferguson plays it. Lamb's from dummy half, got to the quarter line. Now here's Bacco, the man with a lot of pressure on him. And look at them swarming in on Big Sam. Coach SHEENS. Well, penalty's gone to Canberra.
Well, the tackle still seemed to be moving when it looked to me as though that he lost the ball legitimately, but obviously the referee has called held, although the tackle was still moving forward. In other words, Bacco's impetus was enough to keep the momentum going.
I was about to say Coach SHEENS left it until the last minute to include Sam Bacco in the starting lineup. There he is now. He hasn't been in great form in recent weeks. He's lost the football, now it's a penalty to Canberra. Again, taking the ball and trying to steal it.
Well, the Canterbury forwards are really trying to work on Bacco. They realise that in his present form he's a fairly fragile player. He lost that legitimately too. There's no suggestion of it being stolen. It popped out. They might have lost the 2 penalties, but I think that they've proven that Sam Bacco has got a fragile pair of hands and does have a work rate at the moment like a wharfie.
No pressure on Big Sam. Peter Jackson giving him a word or two of encouragement. And Gary Belcher will attempt this long-range shot at goal. He's about 4 metres inside Canterbury's half. What's the wind conditions down there, Bill?
Well, actually, it's a fairly strong northeasterly in favour of Canterbury in this first half. This is going to make it quite a difficult kick for Belcher. I doubt if he'll kick it dead, so it'll have to go straight.
Well, he's certainly got the points on the board this year, Belcher. The leading point scorer with 210 points. And he's kicked 85 goals from 123 attempts. But this is a long one for him. picture of concentration, Gary Belcher. You want to kick it dead if you can't kick the goal. It's going to fall short. Taken by Farah.
Well, that's a calculated risk they're going to obviously take with him, but that seemed to me a bit of a futile thing to do.
Canterbury in possession with Elton playing it on the quarter line. Nissan runs from dummy half. Now Terry Lamb. And here's another penalty to Canterbury. This time it's the Canberra players offside. Bit of a scuffle. So the penalties coming pretty quickly in the first few minutes of this game. Farah will kick for touch. Remind you, the winner of this match will play Cronulla next week in the major semi-final. The loser takes on the very strong Balmain side. Not sure that either side would fancy playing Balmain in their pressing mood. Now here are the Bulldogs. With Paul Dunn, 32 metres out from the Canberra line. Now Lamb into the open spaces. Ferguson's back there for it, but it's been taken by Nissan. But the penalty has gone to Canberra. Annesley ruling that Nissan was in front of the kicker.
Well, it would have required Nissan to be a very, very fast player to get there in time. That camera shot doesn't show really, but I think you can judge from where he suddenly looms into the picture that the referee was correct there. Nissan is a useful winger without being a real speedster.
Well, the real danger for Canberra there was that neither Belcher or Ferguson were in any hurry to get to that ball, so caught napping. Referee saved them both, I think, by awarding the penalty. Now it's the Raiders bringing the ball back out near halfway. The kick from Stewart. It's a massive kick from the little man into the in-goal area. Doesn't look like it's going to go dead. There's plenty of chases there on Thorne. Can he get round them? No, he can't. Great support of their kicker.
Yes, an incredible chase there. Just watch Thorne now as he tries to get out of it. They come out of the woodwork. Look at this. 1, 2, and then 3 finally come in and really belt him to the ground. That's the way to do it. Great support player. Great chasing.
So Andrew Farah with the line drop out. The Raiders immediately now on the attack. Belcher. Good idea to kick away from this man. This is the reason why he busted 2 tackles. Langmack has got up holding a shoulder. Lazarus brought down.
He's in trouble, Langmack.
Lance now bounces back out of a tackle from Peter Tunks. There's Langmack carrying that shoulder. Stewart. Kevin Walters. Peter Jackson stands, looks to unload, goes back inside the defence. Hadn't come up completely on the inside. Kept alive for Bacco now. Canterbury not putting the man down, just outside their own quarter line. Stewart again. A little kick out wide for his wing three-quarter Ferguson. The ball's bouncing, sitting up. Ferguson's going to score. That's a try, a remarkable bounce, but Canterbury guilty of standing back on their heels.
Probably the most amazing try I've ever seen in my life. When I go back about 40 years in rugby league, this is astonishing. The little kick put through there nicely, very nicely by Stewart. The bounce is up. They seem to take it very casually, don't they? And suddenly Ferguson decides there's a try on. What a dreadful blunder by Glenn Nissan there. See it again from another angle. Here's the little grubber kick through. Very, very good little one. It pops up on its end, as a rugby ball will do. Backs over the top. Ferguson's there and just puts the ball down. There's no difficulty at all. Reminiscent of the try scored against, where was that? Canterbury-Bankstown a few weeks ago.
Balmain and Penrith.
Balmain and Penrith, yes. Well, that's an astonishing try, really. That one's come out of the woodwork, and I dare say Johnny Ferguson has never had an easier try in his life.
20 tries in 88 for the flyer from Canberra, the leading try scorer. Belcher from right on the touchline. Great start for the Raiders. Just what you need in semi-final football. He struck this one pretty well. It's swinging round. Great goal. The Raiders 6, Canterbury 0.
Well, just while we've got a moment here, let's have a look at this lower grade situation. Under 21s, East 29, Souths 12. East just poured on the pressure in the last few minutes of the second half. And the reserve grade, East's 18, Parramatta 8. So East have got it done very well.
Now this is Belcher with the football for the Raiders. Dean Lance. Dunn there to take him. Lawless dummy half, got a pass away to Lazarus. Back inside for Coyne. That looked very dangerously forward too. Very close to the mark. Back for Stewart. His kick is down for Nissen. Nissen just in his own quarter. And away from Jackson. Got away from Jackson. Still good running. Good run from Nissen. Ferguson's got to him. That's a fine run from Glenn Nissen. Making up partly for his mistake earlier as Tunks full of running. 32 out now from the Canberra line. Across for Langmack. 3 Canberra Raiders there to pull him down. Back for Hagan now and Lamb. And then to Farah. Back now again leading the charge in defence. Dunn. Got inside the corner. It's the last tackle now for the Bulldogs. Back for Lamb. Lamb's kick across for Belcher. Up he goes. It's loose. It's anybody's football. That's a try. That is a try in the corner. Brandon Lee, the try scorer. Well, it's got to be said much the same way that Canberra scored their first try.
Well, another unexpected result from a bomb on this occasion, so nerves are all to go out there and iron back as we watch Lamb put the ball up. Now everyone appears to be onside in this one, but they make a miserable hash of it. And suddenly Brandon Lee finds himself out on the side and away from the defence, and he just goes down and puts it on. It's a very, very easily taken try, but the 3 Canberra Raiders get in each other's way here. The 2 of them fall over one. Jackson was there. He was one of the ones that tripped over. Ferguson trying desperately to stop Brandon Lee score the try. Again, everyone apparently onside. Across they come, looking Belcher with his eyes in the air, not really caring what happened. And suddenly the ball goes to the right and Brandon Lee gets the try. So that is another astonishing try. I can only put a lot of the things that are happening here today to dead set nerves.
Well, both tries have come from kicks, haven't they? And first of all, a mistake and a very good bounce for Canberra when Nissen couldn't take it. And then the mix-up in the Canberra in goal is Terry Lamb.
But why would Belcher come tearing across there, not even looking, and barrel into one of his own players, knock him out of the way? That put another one down too.
I don't know the answer to that.
No, well, it's very unusual football for an international player like Belcher to suddenly come across there without looking.
Well, there really was a lack of talk there. The man coming deep should be his ball to be standing deep in the in goal coming into it, and that was Belcher's ball. So there was obviously a lack of communication between he and Jackson.
Well, he didn't take his eyes off the ball at any stage, so that's quite right. He did his job. Maybe the other 2 should have watched where he was running, but anyway, the upshot was a hell of a mess.
A metre in from touch, Terry Lamb, 58 goals from 99 attempts, and that one is just to the right of the post. So Canberra will retain the lead. It's 6-4, the Raiders over the Bulldogs.
The man who came up with the fumble, Belcher, with the restart down deep. Taken by Nissen. Straight across field, tries to straighten up, wrapped up by Coyne. Alston in a dummy half, and wherever he goes from there, he does again. Taken right on the quarter line. Backo involved in the tackle. Busy start to the game for him. Here's Tunks. Backo's chasing him across field. Gets another addition to his tackle count. Lee, the try scorer. Valuable meters gained. Canterbury now with his penalty. In a good position to launch another raid. Lee, the dummy from Alsham. Back for Langmack. Dunn. Man that certainly can unload the ball. He needs some support runners. Dummies back across the ruck goes Hagan for Farah. Canterbury no doubt missing Gillespie in the forwards as their main ball runner. Lee again takes the ball up. Out for Langmack, the dummy. Back for Dunn. About 8 metres out now. Last tackle. Alsham. Lamb. Shaped a kick. They left it open for Lamb, and Langmack will score next to the post. Canberra sat back and just waited for Terry Lamb to do what he liked.
Yes, the skills of Terry Lamb were all on display here. He runs, he props off the left foot, goes straight and hard, gets it back on the inside to Langmack, who was very well. He could have scored another 4 or 5 yards. There was no impediment to him going forward. But watch Lamb here as he dummies, weaves, the little step at the end, really wrong-footed the defence properly, and he goes in and scores the very, very good try as Langmack. Now here again from the head-on shot, we'll see all the beautiful things. There he's left Lance for dead, gets a nice pass back inside to Langmack. The lock forward, trailing him all the time, as good lock forwards will, and that's a very good try. But a bit of a slack try in terms of Canberra. I don't think their defence was spot on there.
Langmack the try scorer. Billy Anderson got a change.
Tunks has gone to the head bin, and Mark Sargent in 23 has taken his place.
So Lamb right next to the post. Vital break for them. Great break for Canterbury. 10-6 they lead the Raiders.
This time it's back for Belcher. And then on for Walters. And still working on Tunks. Belcher's into the clear. Looks for Ferguson. The kick in field. Ferguson might get the bounce. Well, he's picked it up anyway. Still going, Ferguson. Still going. Jeez, a live wire player. They just can't put this fella down, can they? Belcher dummy half now, and away it goes to Stewart, and then on to Jackson. Jackson lines one up for the winger Martin, who's put it down, been picked up by Thorne for Canterbury. He'll be pushed into touch on the halfway mark.
Yeah, Farah very expertly picked that ball up and gave it straight away to Thorne. I thought there was a moment there that Canterbury might have ended up scoring in the corner. But there, that ball's put down. See Farah loom on the ball, right onto the ball, and get straight away the pass out to Thorne. The defence was there too.
Having some trouble with these scrums. It's going to move right in on the 10-metre mark, where it should be in the first place. We are talking. Finger pointing. And then they go. Screwed right around. Canberra still come up with it. Jackson has it now. Langmack over the top. Stewart. Right on the halfway mark. Inside for Coyne. 5 metres inside Canterbury's half. Back for Stewart. Inside pass for Backo. And Backo pushed back strongly. Very strong defence from the Bulldogs.
Yeah, Paul Dunn, the main protagonist that he had on that tackle, but by gee, there was a strong bit of work, because Backo coming at a rate of knots is not an easy mark to stop dead in his tracks and then drive him backwards.
Jackson for touch. Peter Tunks making his way down to the edge of the tunnel. Here they come, the Raiders. Just 12 metres out now. Martin. Hit solidly by Sargent. Stewart calls for it. Lazarus had overrun the pass just about. Got one hand to it.
I don't believe he was even supposed to be involved in that move. I think he came in between the dummy half and the first receiver quite poorly, quite inexpertly.
Yeah, I'm quite sure the ball was meant for Stewart. the scrums. 3-0 to Canberra. The penalties 5-3 their way. Make it 5-4.
Geez, they get themselves up there 15 metres from the line. Somebody makes an error, then they give a penalty away, and suddenly they're 40 or 50 yards downfield. It makes it very, very difficult. You've got to play percentage football.
It's not really allowing themselves a chance to build on their game, the Raiders. Canterbury, another big kick from Farah. Peter Tunks back to the sideline. Brandon Lee takes it up yet again. Canterbury will be looking for this ball control, the variety around the rucks from Hagan. Also Langmack and Lamb. Sargent to his feet. Hagan across the blind side. 10-6 the Bulldogs lead. Alshan for Lamb. Moves, dummies, run around the flick back for Farah, stands in the tackle. Now he gets the ball unloaded to folks for Thomas. Out for Dunn, they had some numbers. He should have kept going the same way. Now Lamb will score. In the end, he got a great ball away. I thought he might have hesitated for a moment, but Lamb comes up with the 4 points.
Beautiful try, well constructed. A lot of thought gone into it. Alchin and Lamb work a run around in the middle of the field. Back to Farah. Farah's strength keeps him on his feet. He's still able to offload. Gets it away nicely there to Folks. Folks out to Thomas. Thomas on to Dunn. Watch the Statue of Liberty play. Holds his hand out and the ball's on the end of it. And Lamb takes it and away he goes. That's one that we've seen around for years, that particular end of the move, but there it is. The change of direction was good. The good strength shown by Farah, their inability to put him down was very instrumental in that. The pass on to Folks was a good one. On to Thomas. Now watch this big fellow Lamb. Just hold the hand out and there was the ball. And Lamb took it and he's in for a very clean, very good, very well worked 4-pointer.
Terry Lamb, professional footballer. Any future possible employment opportunities would be welcome, I would suggest, out his way. 7 tries for him in 88. There's Tunks back on the field. Sargent back to the bench. Lamb from out wide again. Gains the breath back after the try. Dean Lance laying down the law to the Raiders. Finding their defence very easily busted at the moment. Strikes that one well, he's pulled it away. No goal. So the Bulldogs with that lead of 14 points to 6 now. Scrum that Terry Lamb's going to feed the ball, and I notice Michael Hagan having a yarn to Alshan to see if they're going to work a move.
That's all they do. It's gone with the feed. Hagan has it now, and then on to Farah. Hagan back to dummy half. For Langmack and Lamb. Back inside for Alchin. Alchin's beaten one, still running strongly, 10 metres out. Good run from Alchin. Langmack on the lead. Hagan found Dunn. Still on that 10-metre line. That's the last tackle now for Canterbury. Langmack. Pass which has been intercepted by Clyde. Clyde's into the clear. He hasn't got a lot of pace though, Clyde. Thorne's come from behind him and pulled him down right on the halfway mark. And it's just as well for Canterbury that he doesn't have a great amount of pace. Here's Belcher. Now can they capitalise on this, the Raiders? Belcher in and out, and finally 10 metres inside Canterbury's half. Pull down. Across to Walters. A bit of indecision. On to Kevin Walters and then on to Clyde again. 32 metres out from the Canterbury line.
Who's probably looking for a little bit of a rest after that run.
Ricky Stewart gave it away to Gilbert. Gilbert running strongly, got to the quarter line before he's pulled down. Golden opportunity now for Canberra if they can put something on. And the penalty, they get the penalty. Dunn was holding Gilbert down. Maurice thought it was a ruling.
There's Ashley Gilbert tackled on the quarter line and Dunn just refuses to let him go. He's claiming that he's being held down. Still got the hand underneath, but the referee's wise to that. And they're taking a tap. Here they go.
Quick tap from Jackson for Belcher through the dummy. Went back inside. Interesting they didn't go for the 2 points. 14-6. It's still only early days. They're taking the gamble on the try. Backo. Wrapped up again. 11 metres out, the Raiders. Desperate for a try before half-time. Gilbert. Certainly a lot more running required from their forwards.
Andrew Farrah's been offside for the last 3 play the balls.
Now they go wide. Stewart. Flick back in. That looked a touch forward to Coyne. 5 metres out, the Raiders. Walters from dummy half. Back inside for his brother. Knocked back. Last tackle now. Stewart. They go right for Jackson. The kick in behind the Canterbury defence. Alson's made a meal of it, and Thorne's kicked it dead.
Yes, discretion being the better part of valour. The State Bank replay shows a moment of panic here in the Canterbury defence. Hagan has to really fall over there. He couldn't do much about it. The ball struck his hand, and Thorne came in later, and we ricked it over the dead ball line. That was the only thing to do. Don't muck about with it. When there's an error made, get rid of it.
So with about 3 minutes to half-time, the wipe of the brow for Farrah with the line dropout, and a very, very big kick. That ball's gone nearly 60 metres on the fly. Back for Martin. The Raiders with 6 tackles. Lance looks around, finds Clyde. Runs into a complete dead end in Farrah up high and Tunks down low. Walters for Coyne through the dummy. Not taken by Joe Thomas. Stewart wants the ball. Back across the ruck. Puts Backhouse through a bit of a gap. Wrapped up by Tunks. And also Farrah again. Ferguson in at dummy half. Out for Walters. Gilbert. Look to shape. The shape to throw it out wide. It's forced to go back on the inside for Coyne. Nowhere to go. Canterbury defence swarms in. Last tackle situation again for the Raiders. Stewart's down, receiving some attention. Walters. Long pass out for Belcher. He's going to run it. Up wide for Martin. Looking for the kick on the inside. They've got chasers coming in the shape of Belcher. Just takes the kick and back to the quarter line. Good defence from Canterbury.
Yes, the ball went wide here in the State Bank replay. Out there to number 2, Paul Martin. He put the right foot centre kick in. That was all he could really do. There were plenty of defenders between. But Alchin there was very sound in defence. Really was not put under any pressure. So the ball comes out to the quarter line for a tap restart, which Terry Lamb's done, and they're underway again.
For sure, Stewart was still down receiving attention. Dunn is bringing the ball away. Bill, the Canterbury forwards certainly are making bigger inroads than the Canberra 6.
They've outplayed their Canberra opponents, haven't they? They've gone forward very well, Canterbury, and I've personally thought that the Canberra front row hasn't worked hard enough.
Well, there's Joe Thomas with an easy gain for him. Back for Farrah. Looks a great kick in behind Johnny Ferguson if he gets the roll on the bounce. Absolutely perfect. You couldn't ask for any better. A metre out.
Well, Andrew Farrah's done everything right today. He was involved up to his boot tops in one try, stood in the tackle, and here he's coming up with kicks like this. This might be the day that Andrew Farrah gets his name in the Man of the Match award, the way he's carrying on. He's playing very, very strong football. And just let me just say in this closing stage that this young fellow, Stewart, scored a magnificent try last week against Gold Coast Tweed up there, and really was a first-class effort.
He's back on his feet, as you saw, feeding that scrum. Belcher. Out for Walters. Kevin Walters, that is. Lost the ball. Canterbury's in possession with about 30 seconds till half-time. There's a real... Well, it had to come the penalty. I can't blame Peter Jackson for being desperate, because Canterbury had the numbers if they got a clean ball.
Yes, there was the sort of a little bit of a wrestling match going on there, and Jackson strikes for it and then comes through over the top and attempts to stop the dummy half getting that ball away. He's conceded a penalty. It's a sinecure. They won't have any trouble with this. It should make it 16 points to 6. It's about 12 metres out, almost in front of the black dot. I think Terry Lamb would like to have a kick like this every day.
There's the siren for half-time. 1 from 3 for Lamb. Sound back, Jackson might have given away the 2 points here, but as I mentioned, I think the 4 or possible 6 were on.
just like Balmain yesterday. Canterbury with an outstanding first 40 minutes for them.
No mistake from Terry Lamb, and it's a great scoreline for the Bulldogs. Why shouldn't they be smiling?
Yes,
there it is, 16-6.
16-6, as you've said, is a pretty comfortable situation to be in at half-time in a major preliminary semi-final. Canterbury's tries came from Brendan Lee, Langmack and Lamb. Goals, 2 from 4 to Terry Lamb. Canberra's tries came from Ferguson. It was an astonishing try. And the goal, Belcher, 1 from 2. So 16 points to 6. The only comment I've got to make apropos of the Canterbury pack, they've got a couple of players in their forwards in Tunks and Paul Dunn who should be backed up all day by the others because they're always on to give a pass of some description. And I think if they did that, they'd do even better than they're doing. But 16 points to 6 is a pretty good one. The crowd is here enjoying the lovely summery weather we've got, although the sun's just gone in. We'll be back shortly with more action.
Beautiful shot of Sydney Harbour with Taronga Park Zoo on the left-hand side there, revealing to you the beautiful Sydney Football Stadium here. And it's the Canberra Raiders who don't want to look like monkeys against the Canterbury side, because they're trailing by 6 points at the moment. It's Canterbury 16 and Canberra 6 as we're ready for the second half. Referee Annesley checking with both sides. And we're ready for the second half. Any changes down there, Bill?
There are no changes to either side. Timmy SHEENS but was very concerned about his team's inability to hold the ball, and their defence went off the ruck either side of the play the ball. Phil Gould, well, he warned his side against complacency. He feels you can't give this Canberra team an inch, but he did feel that if Canterbury were able to score first, they'd break Canberra's back.
Okay, so the Canberra side 10 points behind. And we check the first half tackles. Canterbury have made 80 of them. Dunn and Tunks the best, and Lazarus and Coyne showing the way for Canberra in their tally of 91. They really need to score first, don't they, the Raiders? 10 metres from the halfway mark.
Yes, one would think so.
Down for Alchin. Oh, Alchin's made an awful mess of that.
Yes, I feel that he intended to let the ball hit him on the stomach, but it bounced up higher than he thought and hit his hands. So it's one of those little errors that a game can turn on. Now this is giving Canberra a marvellous opportunity. Only 10 metres out now, or 7 metres out now from the goal. They're going to come up with 6 possessions, and that could be a try.
Before the scrum can even go down, though, it's a penalty to Canberra.
Well, Thomas obviously didn't have both arms around his props. And already Canberra are taking the option to keep possession.
Tim SHEENS looking on anxiously. As we say, they need to score first, and here comes Lazarus. That's a cross for Ashley Gilbert. 10 metres out. Very slowly to his feet. Gilbert is hurt. Here's Coyne.
Well, they've used 3 just solitary running plays in that situation.
Crossfield goes Stewart and gives it back to Gilbert, and Gilbert scores! Well, I don't know whether that was a ploy by Gilbert, because he looked like he was hurt. Stood there looking dazed, but ran onto the pass as Stewart ran across.
Well, here it is. See it again. Turned back on the inside under the arm of Stewart, and Gilbert gets a very soft try as far as I'm concerned. That was really a non-event. The only person on Gilbert is around his legs. There's nobody up around the chest. Thomas has fallen off, and Folks is around his legs, which leaves him to fall 6 feet, and he'll score a try. So he only had to be within 3 or 4 feet of the line, and he was going to get a try.
That's a very old ploy of a forward being down, either pretending to do up a bootlace or pretending to be injured. You called it that way, Ian, and probably asked the question about referees looking for it in future from an attacking player well inside his own 5 metres.
Well, Canberra need to score first. They did that. And Belcher has the opportunity to put Canberra much closer to the Canterbury side. Well, that kick is there, right between the posts. So Canberra back into this football game. It's Canterbury 16 and Canberra 12. the restart. Can Canberra go on with the job? Here's Martin. Right on his own quarter line. I understand the word from the Canterbury dressing room is that Peter Tunks spent the entire 10-minute half-time break flat on his back. So I wonder how long we'll see him in the second half. Peter Jackson. Strong run from him.
He's getting up plenty of momentum there. He was really concerned with getting through the tackle.
Stewart sends this one into the in-goal area. Alchin is there, and it'll go over the touching line, that touching goal line.
So Canterbury back out to the quarter line for the tap restart. Brandon Lee. Through a power of work for Canterbury. Come up with a try. Very good game for him so far. Langmack. Hagan. Cuts out Lamb. Farah. Curry. Into the open. Out for Thorne. Can he get to the outside of Martin? He can't. They took the gamble, Canterbury.
Yes, well, Martin's tackle was an excellent one here. Came across and took him over the sideline. That's the way to do it. And the State Bank replay picked it up very well.
Couple of mistakes. Well, there's a penalty going against Canterbury, so it's all happening for Canberra from the restart of the second half. Bill, Canterbury coming up with a couple of mistakes and allowing Canberra back into this.
Graeme, it's just the start that Phil Gould wouldn't have wanted. He warned them of complacency. They knocked the ball on from a kick-off. They then ran out on the second tackle and then gave away a scrum penalty. All of that in 6 minutes. They're going to throw this away if they're not careful.
Phil Gould wouldn't have wanted it, but Tim Sheens, no doubt, was hoping somewhere in the script it was there. Lazarus. Gilbert on the short blind side. Chant coming up now for the Raiders. They're getting a bit of a roll on with plenty of possession. Walters, Jackson, Clyde goes without it. Belcher, Martin, long pass out that bounced forward. Pass itself being forward and called by referee Annesley.
Yes, a very ambitious pass, this one. He was attempting to pass this from here. Well, I think he intended to get a distance of around about 25 yards, and that's just not on. He's not strong enough to pass the ball that far.
So Canterbury come up through Lamb, who's feeding the scrums with Hagan at 5'8". Nissen, quick play of the ball. He caught their forwards napping. Good gain out to the halfway line. Langmack. Driven back. Canterbury set themselves both sides of the ruck. They go right. Farah, a kicking game of his off Clyde. Bounces into the arms of Ferguson. Well, he dropped it. A real chance was on for Ferguson. The only man he had to beat was Farah.
Yes, just see this for a moment, because the State Bank replay captures it all. It ricocheted off a Canberra player up in the air, down to Ferguson, who knocked it on. There was a possibility of him going 60 yards and scoring there.
Canterbury back in possession. Hagan. All important for them. Try and wrap this game up if they can with a try. To give them that comfort zone again. Lee. Strong tackle. But he'll get up quickly. As I said, he really has taken the ball up well today.
Yes, this was an enormous, strong head-on tackle there. Beautifully timed there by Lazarus.
Langmack again going on down in some strong defence. Last tackle. Lamb. Shake the kick. Well, he's been knocked over by Backo. That's crazy play. Absolutely crazy.
Yeah, Terry Lamb here is just taken out of the action, and he's been given 5 minutes in the sin bin as Sam Backo. Here it is again, Lamb, the little kick minutes after he's just run into by Sam Backo and taken out. The referee has seen fit to put the additional penalty on Backo, apart from the penalty goal, which should be very simple. They're going to be without him for 5 minutes, so that's a turning point in this game as far as I'm concerned for Canberra.
$150 points in 1988 for Terry Lamb. Makes it 152, two of the most important this year for him. Canterbury-Bankstown 18, Canberra 12.
19,000, or just over 19,000 here for this game today. Stewart works the scrum inside his own quarter. It's gone with the feed. Belcher into the back line. 18 points to 12. It's Canterbury over Canberra. Walters a little scurry from dummy half. Plays it to his brother. Down the blind side is Belcher. Coming away from Martin. Martin up towards the halfway mark before he's pulled down. Plays it back to Walters. Now across to Stewart. And then on to Walters. Cut out pass for Clyde. Then to Jackson. Jackson's on the halfway mark. Can't get the pass away though. Ferguson goes to dummy half. From there he runs. Last tackle signal now for Canberra. Back the blind side with Walters kicking for touch. Nissen's in the perfect position to take it though and brings it straight back to be caught by Jackson.
So both sides saying to put it together a little bit of attack, maintaining possession for 6 tackles. Nissen slowly to his feet. Somebody else will be asked to play the ball. Well, he says he's okay. He gets to his feet. I would have thought moving a couple of steps off his mark. And the man, of course, everybody talking about at the moment, Steve Mortimer. He's sidelined with Bill Anderson.
Steve, the Bulldogs have got their nose in front at the moment, but you couldn't feel comfortable.
Not at the moment. 6 points, 7 points would be nice, but I think our boys are playing well, holding the ball, controlling the ball a lot better than what Canberra are doing at the moment.
Do you think that's the secret to this one, whoever can play out their 6 tackles the most?
Definitely control the ball. Once you're in front, you've just got to control the ball, and that's what our blokes are doing at the moment.
Thanks for talking to us.
Thanks, Bill.
Well, it was the point that we were just starting to make about the way both sides are starting to get a bit of a roll on Farah. He was shaping to pass, and now he's lost it. So there's the mistakes that Mortimer was also talking about. Canberra in possession. Back for Clyde. Switches play for Kevin Walters. Straightens up. Back for Steve Walters. He offloads for Big Sam Backo. On a charge straight through Terry Lamb. Inside the Canterbury-Bankstown territory now. Coyne. Look for some support. It was late coming. Canberra the ones having to force the pass. They're 6 points behind. Stewart through the dummy. Tunks didn't fall for it. It's those handling errors. 8-3. Lance for Belcher. Back it comes for Jackson. Keeps the ball alive for Lance. Likewise for Steve Walters. Shaping with a long pass. Was touched by Canterbury, I thought. Ball out for Clyde. He's brought down. Didn't see any signal from Annesley on a restart of tackles. Backo fumbles it. The magician comes back up with the ball. Canterbury keeps on swarming into defence and drives them back about 5 or 6 metres. Last tackle, says Annesley. Stewart shows the ball. Straight across field he goes. Kick through. Hagan is there. Gets outside Jackson. Dean Lance is down in back play with the trainer. Man short in that defensive line at present. Canterbury very bunched now. Looking a little bit tired. Alshan does the right thing by his forwards. Goes for a bit of a scurry. Lance back to his feet. Dunn. Just grafting away the Bulldogs. Brandon Lee. Backo. Strong run and strong tackle. Last tackle for Canterbury now. Farah gets this kick in between Belcher and Ferguson. Just soccer style, traps the ball for himself. Takes on Farah. Back for Ferguson, who straightens up and gets away. Langmack was there in cover defence.
There's no doubt about it. This bloke is a real crowd pleaser. Everyone yells the moment he touches the football.
So Canberra, there he is. Just can't give him any room at all. Stewart, Kevin Walters. Wrapped up by Hagan. The dummy from Belcher. Straight across field. Here's Ferguson with some room to work in. There's Farah's there, and Nissen goes back in field. Lost the ball. One of the few occasions that he's made a mistake this afternoon.
Yes, he actually grabs it. He had a bit of trouble there in the State Bank replay trying to hold it in the first place, and then his arm is touched, and down she goes again. Paul, I think Dunn was the man, but he's still down injured, and some of these players are attending to him at the moment.
Interesting that Annesley has stopped play.
Well, there he is again. Just watching, you'll see, I think the hand, there it was, just touched the football in his hand and knocked it out. So I think he must sometimes carry the ball just a fraction precariously, because that's one of the weakest parts of his game, is sometimes he does tend to put the ball down.
Matthew Corkery. His own football to warm up.
Well, that's nice.
Nice if you can afford it.
Wasn't he one of the leading try scorers last year?
And a hero for Canberra through that run last year. Lamb goes the blind side. Canterbury now trying to get play deep down into Canberra territory. Keep on mentioning the field goal. Hagan wants it. Just a reverse pass there for Folks. Lamb. Look for Curry. Nearly got right through himself. Langmack has support in Dunn. Doesn't use him. He gets the ball back to Hagan though. Now they're in good position for field goal. Where's Terry Lamb? They still don't want it. Tunks has it. Curry. Kicked very, very deep. Should just bounce dead. Didn't seem to be a lot of thought into the kick. Well, Stewart, did he hurry that ball over the touchline? No. It's gone dead itself.
There didn't seem to be a whole lot of point to the kick the way the ball started out going, but in the end it was always very, very safe there. Laurie, the young lad had to really knock that after it had gone over the line.
So it's the Raiders. Just a converted try in it. And they're 32 out from their own line. And get the penalty. Canterbury offside.
Well, there seems to be a fairly loud contingent of Canberra supporters here from the roar that went up.
Or anti-Canterbury people.
Yeah, that may be. No, they're all anti-Manly.
I think they're all still drunk from last night.
Yeah, you might be right. I was saying to Ian earlier, there's 25,000 people here yesterday. 20 of them came to cheer for Balmain, and the other 5,000 came to boo Manly.
Well, you saw a shot of Brent Todd on the sideline, ready to go on for Lazarus, we understand. He hasn't gone on yet. We've still got Corkery warming up behind the goal line as well. So some changes about to happen in the Canberra side. Here's Dean Lance getting it away to Coyne. Pretty solidly by Brandon Lee. Stewart. Got a pass away to Coyne and then on to Belcher and then on to Jackson. Jackson had Belcher going around the back of him again. Good play from Canberra. Here's Ferguson. Ferguson is caught though. 33 metres out from the Canterbury line.
Some awfully smart passing by Canberra there, but it didn't get them much.
Stewart has it. Pass out from Martin. Martin's up to the quarter line. He's got some support on the outside from Belcher. No, it wasn't. It was Clyde, I beg your pardon. Walters. A kick that's gone off the side of his boot and has gone over the dead ball line on the full.
How to keep the pressure on the opposition.
Well, there's the change coming up now with Brent Todd on. And Lazarus is the player who's off. So the restart with Thomas taking the tap and giving it away to Dunn. Check the scrums as Canberra come up with the ball. Jackson is caught. Those scrums 5-4 to Canberra and 10-6 to penalties to Canberra. And it's the Raiders on the attack inside the quarter. Sam Bacco. As the defence swarms on him, 12 metres out from the Canterbury line. 6 points the difference. Converted try. The scores are level at full time. 10 minutes extra time each way. And here are the Raiders with Clyde. Early Clyde looks for support back inside. Couldn't get the pass away. Pulled down a metre short. Martin goes to dummy half. Todd pulled down a metre short. Martin dummy half again. This time to Coyne. Coyne tries to burrow his way through. Last tackle signal. Very slowly to his feet, Coyne. Stewart throws it out to Gilbert. Gilbert's got support out there from Walters. Out to Ferguson. The pass was forward, I thought. But Ferguson is in to score. No try. Forward pass rule.
Yeah, it's quite definitely a forward pass. Not even a suggestion of an error there. There was no doubt in the wide world that was about 4 or 5 metres forward. Look at the line. Just watch the line. Well, there it was. Now Ferguson had the pace to go on with it at the end of it, but the pass was a bad one, and that's a good decision by Annesley.
Well, Raiders. This scrum is down 11 metres out, worked by Terry Lamb for Canterbury. Gone with the feed. Wall is up very quickly in defence and assisted by Bradley Clyde. Strong defence from the Raiders. And Canterbury get the penalty. Gee, there is some Canberra support here, isn't there?
There certainly is. They're booing the heads off at the moment. There's a section of the crowd down the front of our stand here that we can't see. And they're packed in there, very, very full.
Farah kicks for touch. Finds it 10 metres short of halfway. Thomas with the restart, getting it away to Lee. Blacko leads the charge into him.
He's been a workhorse today for this Canterbury side. He's made a lot of mileage.
Now Steve O'Brien getting ready to go on for Canterbury. And we understand that Hagan will be the player who will come from the field. They're on the halfway mark at the minute. Back for Farah. The Walters harasses him. 18 points to 12. Canterbury lead over Canberra. Just the converted try the difference as Alchin tries to thread his way through. Back for Lamb again. Kick charge down by Jackson. Jackson's picked it up. Play on at the referee. Jackson is up to the corner line. Jackson is away. Jackson is going to score for Canberra. Jackson scores.
A remarkable try. I believe Jackson touched the football, but we'll see again. It was my suspicion, but I don't have 100% eyes. Well, I don't believe he did. No, in retrospect, I don't believe he did. He sprinted away. The ball was ricocheted off him. Terry Lamb came in ineffectually at the start there. Then, of course, Joey Thomas trailed him. And Lamb was able to keep him from going around. That was about the best that Lamb could do. See it again.
Rex, I think you've got to ask yourself the question, was Farah tackled without the football? Yes.
Well, he went over the top of him. I don't believe he tackled him. I don't think there was an attempt to tackle. He was reaching for the football. That's a spectacular try. That's one of those that's going to be contentious for as long as rugby leaguers play. Those sort of things are going to happen. Somebody will say he tackled the player without the football. Others will say he wasn't going for the tackle. He was merely going for the ball. It's a damn swift try anyway, and that puts them back on level terms.
Read about it in the morning. Peter Jackson. And Hagan has been replaced in the Canterbury side. What a pressure kick this is for Gary Belcher. Has it placed on the 10-metre mark. 10 metres in from touch. Just inside the corner. This kick could have us all square here. Watch the touch, judges. They haven't moved. It's a goal. We've got a game that's all tied up at the football stadium. 18 points all. In a great second half of football this.
There's only 8 minutes to go now. This is starting to get wide open too. They're really throwing the ball around like a hot potato.
18 points together. Langmack will play at 5 metres from the halfway mark. The scores are level at full time. 10 minutes each way. Extra time will be played. Curry got the pass away to O'Brien. O'Brien's beaten one. He's still going, O'Brien. Good run. Curry dummy half. Back for Tunks. And then on for Lamb.
Forward
pass. Look forward a mile. It's been ruled play on. I can't believe this.
Oh dear, oh dear. He wasn't even standing back deep there. He was very nearly in line with that one.
Gee whiz, there's some very ordinary decisions on the forward passes here today. Tunks on the quarter line. Ridden into the ground by Big Sam. From dummy half goes Alchin. Alchin's beaten one. Good run from him. Just 11 metres out. Thomas from dummy half. Had support from Langmack. Back inside for Tunks. On to Lamb. Lamb's caught by Lance. But still got the pass away to Dunn. Now the defence gets to him. Plenty of action here as Lamb tries a field goal. And it's there. Canterbury stick their nose in front.
Yes, that was a well-taken field goal by Terry Lamb. It didn't look anything in the air. It just went end over end. It was a weird-looking kick, but it counts a point, and they're up 19-18. I feel that the referee erred badly in not giving that penalty, and I think he erred also in giving him 6 to go because the ball was kicked into the Canberra player.
Yeah, it didn't look as though it was charged down. I was going to call for that one.
No, I think he's made a double bunger error on that occasion. I'm very sorry for Canberra on that. And it looks like Dean Lance has had a little bit to say here. He's been called over. And giving the rounds of the kitchen from the referee and the touch judges.
He's been sent off.
He sent him. Well, I have no idea what he's been sent off for.
Well, something to do with the touch judges. He's abused one of them or...
Off. He's saying off.
Well, that means Bellamy's got to leave with him because he was replacing Lance.
Well, that's what that's all about. Well, sensations here at the football stadium. Real drama here. Perhaps this is what it's all about. We'll watch for Lance. You watch the football game, Graeme.
Well, there's no Lance in shot. That's Gary Coyne.
No, nothing in that.
That's going to be a mystery as far as I'm concerned, unless I can see some visual evidence of what he did.
Oh, headaches for Tim Sheens. Inside the last 5 minutes of a gripping semi-final. Billy, any word on the charge?
Well, look, I've spoken to Dean Lance, Graeme, and asked him why he's been sent off, and he said he didn't know. Now, that wouldn't be the case. Obviously, there would be some charge against him. I don't think it's foul play. It can only be for attacking a touch judge verbally, because the touch judge was the one who reported it.
All right. Controversy at the Sydney Football Stadium in the major preliminary semi-final. Well, Corkery to bring it back.
That brings me back to 1959 when I was sent off for abusing a touch judge for doubting his parentage. And got sent off, I did.
Down to 12 men. Canberra. They've come back strongly in the second half. Now Bacco's wound up. Pushes a pass back for Gilbert. Canterbury defence comes in very, very quickly. Walters out to Belcher. Corkery, plenty of defence there, chips over the top. Bouncing there for Alsham to bring it back too. More Canberra players warming up on the sideline, Bill.
Yes, both second rowers will be coming off and their places will be taken by 21 Bellamy and 24 Ellis.
So Canterbury now just short of their own halfway line. Nissen. No mistakes in possession of the ball for Canterbury, for that matter, both sides. Tunks. The chant going up around the stadium for both teams. Real semi-final football. Langmack. The ball's got to be kept at this end of the field as far as Canterbury are concerned. DUNN. Another who's played powerfully today. Last tackle. Standing very flat, the Canterbury players. Thomas for Lamb. The kick into the end goal. They'll be trying to pin Belcher down here. He's got to it. There's Thorne, great defence.
Yes, the chase there on the State Bank replay is an excellent one by Terry Lamb. He's assisted ably by Thorne, and they get Belcher over the touch-in goal line very, very smartly. There seemed to be something said between Belcher and Lamb there too. I don't know what it was, just the heat of the moment.
The replacements have been made. Craig Bellamy in 21 and Chris Houghton, I should say Grant Ellis in 24 are out there for both second rowers. Farah. Canterbury with 6 more tackles. Straight up the middle goes Farah. They're going to talk about this match. Controversial. Nissen. There was a doubt. Well, we believe the charge against Lance will be for a high tackle on Paul Dunn. Just out of dummy half. Curry now. Likewise. Out for O'Brien. Can he push the defence away? He can't. And he put a foot right onto the touchline, says the touch judge.
Well, I don't think he went anywhere near the touchline. We'll see it again, unless I'm seeing things. But the player that tackled him did. He didn't put a foot near the line.
Walters. 19-18. 1 point will get Canterbury home. They're clinging to it. Canberra. They've got the players that can produce a try from very deep in their own territory. Bellamy. Oh, what a tackle from Thomas. Especially this late in the game.
Yeah, gets the salute there from Langmack too. This kick is not a good one. Oops, a daisy.
Well, the knock-on, the crowd was screaming at the referee. Alston wants to argue.
I suggest he get on with the game. There's the knock-on on the State Bank replay, and Tunk's picking it up.
Not an easy decision.
Not an easy decision, but the right one on that occasion.
Royal Millie looking as though it came off the head of Steve O'Brien.
Penalty to Canberra. We go down to the last minute with the Raiders in possession. The crowd are still hooting. Well, they're not going to fight touch.
Oh, dear, oh dear.
All Canterbury-Bankstown will have to do is play out time. They've got to hang on to the ball. 19-18. 40 seconds to go. What a semi-final. And unfortunately, we're going to hear plenty about some decisions in this match. Alston, straight out of dummy half. Inside the last 30 seconds. Looking likely for the Raiders to shape up to Balmain and Canterbury to take on the Sharks. The crowd will be giving us a count once we get down to the last 10 or 5 seconds. And you can judge for yourself at the end of this one, the cheers or the hooting. The crowd counting us down. 2 seconds. Last tackle, there goes the siren. It's all over. Canterbury have just got home after a remarkable comeback by Canberra. Listen to the crowd. Ecstatic as Canterbury, but they've got home by 1 point, 19-18.
Yes, the referee, I believe, will have a fair amount of controversy about some of the decisions that he's made. But anyway, that apart, I'll be back in a moment with a most difficult job to give the Man of the Match award to one of the players from this match. Don't go away.
Welcome back. Well, certainly plenty of controversy in this major preliminary semi-final win to Canterbury, especially that send-off to Dean Lance. Let's see if we can clear it up for you. Apparently, we haven't had it confirmed. The charge will be attacking the head of an opponent, not in possession of the football. He certainly put Paul Dunn down in back play there, who was cut out in that movement from Canterbury-Bankstown. But in the end, 1 point got Canterbury-Bankstown home. A great performance, and a great performance by our State Bank man of the match, Brandon Lee. Plenty of work had to be done by the forwards.
It was a hard game, and we knew we had to do our best to win the game. And Canberra are a good side, and we just had to try our best to win the game, and we did.
They came back at you strongly in the second half?
Yeah, mate, they didn't give in, and it was just great when Terry Lamb potted that field goal. It's the cue of the game, but I think we'll go on with the job for you, mate.
All right. Well, for all your efforts, $1,000 from the State Bank in the form of a State Saver savings account, Brandon.
Thanks very much, Graeme. I'd like to thank the State Bank and Channel 10 for the award.
There is our man of the match. Now on from City 4.
I think so, yeah. We led early and then gave away a number of fundamental errors, and they got a roll on, and we just didn't seem to be able to stem the tide. Half time we came back and got started with a good start and went on with it, but unlucky in the end.
Our 2 previous games this year, they've held big leads, and we've answered them and come back with challenges to win the game. At 16-6 at half time, we knew the game was far from over. They showed the character in their side. They came back to get back to 18 all. I just think that the Canberra side is such a good side, and so many good players. They keep you under a lot of pressure when they got the ball, and it's very hard when you're under that pressure to then turn around when you get it and do something with it. We were a little negative, but we'll learn from that.
Well, in a word, Balmain or Canberra?
Draw.
Well, that's as close as you go, 19-18 to the Canterbury-Bankstown side, and really I think it widens up the scope of who's going to win this grand final, because as close as that was, 3 tries each, so it's going to be very, very close no matter who goes into the matches. Now, the Cronulla side come into play next week, and these are the matches that we've got set down for you. And there it is next Saturday at 6 p.m, minor semi-final, Canberra against Balmain. And then on Sunday, Cronulla, the minor premiers, make their appearance in the semi-final series, and they take on the Canterbury side. So that's the fare that we've got for you next week. I hope you've enjoyed this telecast. It certainly was a good game today, particularly the second half. Rex Mossop on behalf of all the Channel 10 crew wishing you